going on, gaming nerds? Welcome back to Midnight Gaming with Mr. Nightmare. Thanks for coming to the channel and hanging out. Hopefully you guys are having an amazing day. I'm having a pretty decent day. It is midnight yet again. We are back on Russian Fishing 4, and I'm just back here doing a little bit of woodworking here with my super weird chainsaw. Anyway, I apologize for not putting out a video lately because, well, to be completely honest with you guys, I haven't been feeling that good. And it's hard to put out videos when you don't want to get out of bed as it is. Okay, so over the last week or so, I've had kind of the same people asking the same question, and it's kind of a harder question to actually answer without putting out a video. I can give you a general answer, but the question basically is, should I change out the hooks on my lures? Now, there's a whole bunch of theories about this, and I'm going to talk about all the theories. I'm going to give you guys my opinion and kind of what I do when it comes down to it, so I'll give you my own advice. But in the end, there's a whole bunch of stuff that the devs haven't released and kind of divulged, and it's kind of up to you guys whether you want to switch out your hooks or not. Let me just say this before I start. There is nothing anywhere that the devs have ever said when it comes down to hooks that causes a better bite rate. Let me just say that. Now, that doesn't mean that's not true, because there's a lot of stuff in the game that aren't like disclosed by the devs that are actually in the game, but let me just say that right off the bat, so kind of take that into consideration. Now, if you're a new player and you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, if you guys didn't know, you can go in and you can take your lures and you can go into them and you can actually change out your hooks on your lures. Okay, the first thing that you need to understand is you can't have a lure on a rig. If you have a lure on a rig, then you're not going to be able to see it in your inventory. As you can see, I've got a Satori in there. If I go into my inventory and I go down to my lures and I type in SOT for Satori, I've only got one, and this is one that is off of a rig. Okay, so if I was to take that one off of my Super Duty rig, and then I go in and do the same thing to lures and I type in Satori as well, now that I've got two of them up there, I can take the one that I just took off of my rig and I can either click on this and switch out my hooks, or you can click on this and actually take it off completely. Okay. All right. So first of all, what we need to actually talk about when it comes down to it is all of this stuff kind of hooks into each other, kind of leads into and is connected to each other. So we need to actually talk about the lures and the quality of the lures and stuff like that. When it comes down to what the fish are actually attracted to, it is size, right, ladies? Shape, right, ladies? Color, definitely. And the depth of the lure, the depth that the lure swims to. Now, there is a definite attractant when it comes down to the movement of the lure caused by the water, as long as the lure is not touching the bottom. If it's touching the bottom, the movement of the lure no longer takes effect. But if it's floating, then the water can actually push the lure along and cause a movement attractant to the fish. Now, there are some people that believe that when it comes down to movement, it's also about how the lure may swim. If it vibrates, if it swims, if it wiggles its tail more, if it pops up in the air. All of that is also considered to be possibly movement that might actually attract fish. We don't know that 100% for sure, but we do know 100% that the movement of the water itself on the lure can actually attract fish. Okay, but I do have this sneaking suspicion with the way that topwaters work. The popping action, the movement of the topwater basically does cause an attracting type of attractant for the fish. It attracts the fish because of its movement. But some people believe maybe if this fish, like the lure swims, the fish may feel the vibrations and stuff like that. I don't know if it's that detailed when it comes down to the devs, but there may be a possibility movement from the lure could attract the fish. Why am I talking about this? Well, basically what it comes down to is the reason I'm actually getting into this is that is the main thing that attracts the fish to the lures: size, shape, depth, as we know, and possibly movement of the water as well. However, when you go into your lures through the tackle shop, as you can see, every one of these lures actually has a quality on it as well. I used to believe that the higher the quality of the lure, the higher the attractant rate. I no longer believe this whatsoever. Okay, and this is why right here I have a couple of lures that I want to show you. This is why I do not believe this. Basically right here, Spiker 2s, you guys all know these are absolutely fantastic spinners for Tunguska and Belaya River. They have a very high bite rate, and they have for a considerably large amount of time. However, I was suggested to by a guy named Fabrica. You guys have probably heard me mention him before. These Dragonfly Bells too. These are incredible lures, but they're only 2-star quality lures. These spikers are 5-star quality lures, I do believe, but these are only 2-star quality lures, so everybody always skips over them. But once I purchased them, I realized they have an extremely high bite rate, almost, well, pretty much as good as the spikers, sometimes even better than the spikers. And I've been starting to try out a lot of the different other lures around that I found in the game that are actually lower qualities. So I no longer believe that the quality of the lure actually attracts fish more. The higher the quality lure, in my opinion, does not mean a higher bite rate. It's literally size, shape, depth of lure, and possibly motion when it comes down to the water. Okay, why are these a lower quality then? Well, basically when it comes down to it, if you go into the lures themselves and you go under spinners and you type in dragon, these dragonflies, these are the 6s, I want the 2s. Where's the 2s? These dragonflies actually come with an absolutely garbage hook on it. As you can see at the bottom, it says TRB HK1001S5. These are absolute garbage hooks. They are treble hooks, and they are these ones right here. 5 silver, and they're 2.5 stars. Absolute garbage. Okay, so in my opinion, the only reason that a lure may have a higher quality on it is because, one, the lure or the hook that comes with it, and 2, the durability. As you know, with this game, most of the time, if something has a star quality on it, that means it's got a durability. In my opinion, the higher the star quality, the higher the durability. I do believe that's pretty much the same for everything in the game that has a durability. But the thing that you need to understand is when it comes down to these higher quality hooks, you get a higher quality set of hooks with them. As you can see, you've got the hook Rage Treble S1. Those are some ridiculously nice treble hooks. I believe they are probably these ones right here. 17 silver, 4 stars. Very, very nice hooks. Okay, 4-star, 5-star are the 2 that I actually use the most of the time. All right. Okay, so like I said, in my opinion, when it comes down to the quality of the hook or the quality of the lure, that no longer, in my opinion, actually attracts fish. All right. So now that we've talked about that, let's talk about the 3 types of hooks. There are 3 types of hooks, and these are the treble hooks that you're going to be using to replace all of your lures with, okay? Or to replace the hooks on your lures with. Basically what it comes down to is you've got multiple sizes. You've got gold, you've got silver, you've got black. In my opinion, the color absolutely has no matter whatsoever. Some people do believe this. This is one of the hypotheses that color actually matters when it comes down to it. Shape, size, you've got red, obviously right here. Color, size, I shouldn't say size as in like the actual, you know, a large 2 versus extra large 3.0. When I'm talking about size, I shouldn't say size, I should say shape. Not size, but shape. So you've got these ones right here. It's a really skinny hook that's really sharp, and then you switch over to these ones right here. This has got a funky kind of, you know, U shape on it. The size or the shape of the hook doesn't really matter. In my opinion, the color of the hook doesn't really matter. So the 3 types of hooks that you've actually got is you've got a basic treble. Now the basic treble are basically these 3 hooks, no fluffer on it or anything else. That's it. Okay. Then you've got the fluffer hooks, and we're going to stop calling them fluffer because that's a completely different video and a completely different genre that is not appropriate for this channel. So we're just going to call them fluff hooks. Okay. So these have fluffs on them. Now, if the hook actually has some different type of attracting feature, if it does, in my opinion, it would be these ones, because these add an attractive. This is actually cow tail hair. If you guys didn't know, this has to do with kind of fly tying and stuff like that, but it's actually hair from animals that's been dyed and has been placed on the hook to add an extra attractant and to cover the hooks a little bit. So if anything, these, in my opinion, might cause a different bite rate. But usually you've got the red ones, and then you've got the yellow ones, which are the third type. Most people don't prefer the yellow ones because the yellow ones actually are a lower quality, as you can see. However, some people that might be beginners might actually like these. These are super bright, might attract fish maybe at lower levels, stuff like that. But most people usually use the red-haired ones because they are higher quality. They are a 5-star quality. And I think the lowest red one you've got right here, this goes down to a 1-star quality, so people won't use this. As you can see, it looks like absolute garbage with the hair. But then you start stepping up to the happies and you get up to a 3.5 stars. Okay? In my opinion, if you're a new player, go ahead and go with the 3.5 stars ones, the cheaper ones. If you are not a new player, I highly suggest the happy 3s and starting up from there because those are 4-star quality or higher. Okay? Okay, let's talk about the theories that everybody has when it comes down to these hooks. Now, this first one is not actually a theory. It is actually true. We know this 100%. Okay? The higher the quality of the hook, the better the auto hook rate is, and the better the hold rate of the fish is, meaning you're going to get a lot less fish got away messages when it comes down to catching fish. Now, a lot of people right here and now are saying, well, wait a minute, Mystic. When it comes down to spin fishing or trolling, it's an auto hook. You don't have to worry about jerking. You don't have to worry about the fish getting off. That's not true. If you have spent any time actually on the bank of a river and you've been fishing and spin fishing, you will notice that every now and then your pole will almost bend in half. A fish will grab it, you'll start to reel it in, and then the fish will let it go, and you won't actually have a message on your chat saying that the fish got away. That is a missed hooked opportunity, okay? This can actually happen more with lower quality hooks. This is a thing. You may not catch a fish or auto hook it automatically when you're trolling or when you're spin fishing at any point in time. There are times when you're trolling and your rod will actually bend in half. A lot of times that is actually your lure hitting the ground in a shallow spot, but there are times when fish will hit your lure and will actually let it go, and you will not automatically hook the fish. That comes down to the higher quality of your actual hook itself. Okay, so with the treble hooks, in my opinion, 4 or 5-star are probably the best. They will give you some of the highest auto hook rates, and then also some of the highest chance of holding that fish on, meaning you will not lose the fish once it's actually hooked. Now, this is very important for me personally. I troll a lot of places that have barriers, like on Tunguska, they have a barrier here and a barrier down here. If I hook a fish down here that is very large and is running like a bat out of hell and is heading towards that barrier, I can usually tell if I let that fish get past that barrier if it's going to spool me or not, because my boat cannot go past that barrier. So what I'll actually do is I will put my pole down. I will go full speed at that barrier and try to get between the barrier and the actual fish so I can drive the fish in the opposite direction. When I put that pole down, that chance of losing my fish goes higher. To lower that chance, I make sure that I have higher quality hooks on my lures so I don't have to worry about actually losing the fish. Now, have I lost fish that way? Yes, I absolutely have. But have I also caught really big fish by doing that and by taking that chance? Yes. Basically, it comes down to, if you know for a fact if that fish gets past the barrier and you aren't able to get between the barrier and the fish, you're going to get spooled. If you know it for a fact, then take the chance because you'll probably lose the fish anyway. And if you lose it doing that, then you won't have to worry about your reel getting absolutely destroyed trying to stop the fish once your boat has hit the barrier but the fish has passed it. Okay, so that is the first theory. The second theory is, I shouldn't say the first one was the first theory because it's not actually a theory, it's actually true 100%. The first official theory is fluff hooks actually have a higher bite rate. Now, I don't know for sure on this. I am on the fence. Plain and simple, I am on the fence. I could go either way. The fact of the matter is I have tried this numerous times, and I have never seen a different bite rate when I've switched out regular hooks to fluff hooks. It's that simple. That is my opinion. I just don't know. And honestly, I do not feel the need to spend the silver to purchase a bunch of fluff hooks for every single one of the lures that I buy. Okay. The fact of the matter is I'm just on the fence for it, and I don't feel the need to do this. If someone is catching some big fish, some trophies and stuff, and I say, hey, mind telling me what you're using? And they say I'm using this lure with fluff hooks on them, I will switch out at that point just to get exactly the same setup that they have. But for the most part, I haven't seen a real difference with this. And that's just a fact. So it may be something, I can see that it could be something because it does add an extra element to your hooks, and your hooks are actually exposed. So if the fish sees a larger hook or a smaller hook or a different colored hook, there may be a possibility that it could change its mind in biting. But with this, I would see this could be more of an attractant. So I could see how this is something. I just am not for sure. I am on the fence about it. I have not seen enough of a change in my bite rate when it comes down to using fluff versus using a treble hook. Next theory, larger hooks cause a larger bite rate. Now, in my opinion, this is something that actually comes from regular bottom fishing. The fact of the matter is we all know a larger hook means a higher bite, or means a larger chance of catching a bigger fish, right? It's actually not like that. What it actually is a larger hook means larger bait, and a larger bait means a larger fish. And that's kind of the way the devs programmed it to be more like, instead of a larger bait, it's more like larger hooks. But in technically it's larger hook needs a larger bait, catches larger fish. In my opinion, this fact in bottom fishing has been transferred over to lures. When it comes down to it, a lot of people believe that a larger lure, or not a larger lure, but larger hooks on your lures means a larger fish attractant. In my opinion, I don't think this is a thing. I really don't. The fact of the matter is the hooks are exposed, and yes, I could see how a larger hook on your lure may deter smaller fish, but I just don't think it's actually a thing. When I purchase my higher quality 4 or 5-star hooks, and I don't change them out, and like this one here, it's got a size 1 on it, and people are switching out to size 2 zeros or 3 zeros, and I'm catching the same size of fish as them. I just don't see the comparison when it comes down to it. I haven't seen a large enough fish or multiple large fish attack my lure with larger size hooks. I just don't think this is a thing. I can see how it could be. In my opinion, I just don't think it is, but there's a lot of people who believe it. There's one guy that's in our chat that goes by the name Cole S. And in fact, I read a post that he did on the forums once where he said that he had a friend, he was looking for a trophy. He himself was looking for a trophy on Quarry Lake, for lake trout. He'd been fishing for a few hours, hadn't caught any trophies, and his friend made a suggestion, because he'd got a couple trophies, to replace his hooks with the front hook on the lure with a 1-0 and the back with a 2-0. Now, when I was reading this story, I thought that's kind of a big hook, for Quarry Lake. But within 15 minutes to half an hour, he had 2 trophy lake trout. So there are some people who absolutely do believe it because they've had experiences like that. I've just never seen an experience like that. So in my opinion, I just don't know if that's actually true or not. Theory number 3, different color hooks and different shapes of hooks have a different bite rate. In my opinion, this is absolutely not a thing whatsoever. I have tried many different sizes and many different shapes. These funky sizes over here, this one right here that looks mean and nasty, the fluff hooks, everything else. I've tried all of the different ones. Some of these, I just haven't seen anything. In my opinion, I think this is actually transferred over from regular classic hook and bottom fishing hook. A lot of people think all of these different shapes are actually something that's different. And can possibly catch different fish. I use happy hooks on everything. I've caught everything on happy hooks before, and technically these are actually made for bream. Okay, so in my opinion, I think people are kind of just transferring this theory over from bottom fishing that they have, because a lot of these bottom fishing hooks will say this hook is made for this and this hook is made for that. I mean, I've caught a stupid rough on one of these before. So I just don't think it's a thing, in my opinion. So different shapes, different colors and stuff on hooks, like one black, one blue, one red. I just don't think that's actually a thing, but it is a theory that a lot of people have. Now, this next one's going to piss a couple of people off, and that's fine. A higher quality of hook means a higher bite rate. In my opinion, this is absolutely, without a doubt, not a thing in the game. A higher quality hook. Now I can see how a higher quality hook, well, maybe it's pretty, or maybe it's shiny, or maybe it's, you know, it does this or it does that. That may make it a higher quality bite rate or a higher bite rate, but yada, yada, yada. I don't think this is a thing. In my opinion, this is actually something that's also transferred over from regular bottom feeding hooks. People believe that a higher quality bottom feeding hook means a higher bite rate. I don't think this is a thing. Now, you guys know when you're actually bottom fishing and you're seeing the tip of your rod bounce up and down a whole bunch of times, and you're just like, come on, fish, quit playing with it and just take it and auto hook. And you're getting upset. Usually that happens a lot more when you've got a lower quality of hook, because the hook is making it so the fish isn't auto biting as quickly, or auto hooking, I should say, as quickly. So when you get into a higher quality of hook on your bottom fishing, you get a higher auto hooking rate. And I think people are mistaking that auto hooking rate as being a higher bite rate, because they auto hook faster. You get to pull them in, you know, take them off the line, throw your bait out there, and you're immediately catching another fish. When in reality, in my opinion, people are mistaking a faster auto hooking rate to a faster bite rate. It seems like a faster bite rate, but it's not a faster bite rate. It's actually a faster auto hooking rate that feels like a faster auto bite rate, or I should say auto bite rate. I'm getting autos and auto bite rate and bite rate all confused. It's a auto hook rate that is being mistaken for a faster bite rate, in my opinion, because it's a higher quality hook that auto hooks faster. I just don't think it's a thing in the game. I'm sorry for a lot of you who do. I just have never seen a difference between the two lower hooks and the higher quality hooks, and I have tried using both of them. Okay, let's next talk about this funny one. This one's an enjoyable one. I think it's funny. Every time I think about it, it makes me laugh. The larger the hook is, the larger the hook is in the fish's mouth. The larger the hook is in the fish's mouth, the harder it is to pull the hook out of the fish's mouth, which makes it so you get a lower fish got away message amount. I absolutely do not think this is a thing. I think this is just the people who just think the game's a little bit more in depth than it actually is. Conspiracy theorists, if you will. But a larger hook inside a fish's mouth is a larger hook that cannot be pulled out, in my opinion, is kind of nonsense. I'll be honest with you. I absolutely positively do not think this is a thing. Okay. Okay. So that's it for the theories that I have found so far. Let's talk about my actual opinions and what I personally do and what my advice is. Number one, if you have a lure that you have purchased that is a 3-star or lure, 3-star or lower, then replace the hooks. The fact of the matter is normally with a 3-star or lower, you get around a 2-star to a 1-star hook that's attached to it, and it's garbage. Okay. Now, as you can see with this one, I've got a fluffer. I'm not sure if the spikers actually come. I do believe they actually come with fluffers. I think I might actually have an Aquila with a fluffer. There are times when people suggest that I should switch out a certain hook on a certain lure because they're doing it and they're getting a better bite rate, that I will switch it out. If somebody comes to me and says, hey, I'm catching these big fish here, I'm doing it on this lure, and I've switched out my lure hook to this and this, I will do it just to make sure that I get their exact setup. Until then, personally, unless I have a 3-star or lower lure, I will not replace the hook on it. These higher quality like wobblers and spoons and stuff like that, they come with high quality berserker and treble rage hooks and stuff like that. They're 4 to 5-star hooks. If you decide to start switching out your hooks on every single lure, you're going to be spending a lot of money. Okay. So for me, if I get a 4-star or a 5-star lure, then I will not switch out the hooks. I do not find that when it comes down to switching out the hooks, I have a difference in bite rate or size of fish or anything else like that. I have caught fish on these basic hooks right here that are the that are the stock size that are just as big as anybody's that actually is caught, you know, on Fluff or Magnetic 2.0s before. So I just haven't seen enough evidence to switch them out on my own. But if somebody suggests it, then I will go ahead and do it to copy their setup. Okay. Now, in my opinion, it's not really worth it when it comes down to the silver. But there is a suggestion that I have. If you want, and you've got the money and you're high enough level, fine, just go ahead and go into your, you know, go into your hooks and purchase a brand new set of hooks for every single lure that you purchase. You're going to spend thousands of silver. That's up to you. But if you want like maybe a cheaper way to do it, but you're absolutely sure that you want to start switching out your hooks on almost every one of your lures, what I would do is buy sets. Go in, find a lure or find a hook that you're absolutely just happy about, like maybe the 74 silver one, or me personally, I like starting out like some of my two-star spinners with this four-star rage treble, and then you could probably hop up to these right here. Like the Magnetics are really popular with a lot of people, and they're a 5-star. They're fairly cheap, 28 silver. So what I would do was start off by getting regular treble hooks with no fluff on them, and I would go in and I would buy 4 6s. So what you're doing is you're buying them for two lures that have 2 hooks each, which is a total of 4 hooks. So I would buy 4 6s, 4 4s, 4 1s, and 4 2.0s. And by doing that, what you're going to do is you're going to get an entire set that you can switch every single lure that you use out with the different sizes that you want. And they're all going to be higher qualities, 5-star quality. Then I would go in and do the exact same thing with the Ultra Treble or the Berserker Fluff hooks. 4 6s, 4 4s, 4 1s, 4 2.0s. However, what's going to happen is you're going to end up spending about $2,000 on that, which that's up to you. You know, that's really all you have to spend. But what you're going to have to do is every time that you switch out your lures, you're going to have to go into your rig. You're going to have to remove the lure. Then you're going to have to go into your inventory and find the actual lure, the old lure that you just took off. You're going to have to take off the hooks. Then you're going to have to go in and you're going to have to find your new lure, and you're going to have to replace that new lure with the higher quality hooks. Now, I've seen people do this before. Their entire inventory looks like mine with all these lures, but they all have red X's on them. They kind of look like, let's see, where did it go? This one right here. I just barely switched this one out. So when you take this off and you go into your lures, you can easily find that one because it has this red tool symbol on there. Their entire inventory is full of these lures that all have that because none of them have hooks on them. And then before they go fish, they go in and they choose what hooks that they want to try out. And they say, okay, well, I'm going to be fishing for this. I'm going to be fishing here, and I'm going to go ahead and try these out. Okay. So it's a pain in the butt to do it that way, but it's going to save you thousands and thousands of silver by doing that. But if you feel that it's worth it and you want to go in and switch out your lures, go ahead. I literally have only switched out a couple of lures in the entire time that I've been fishing in the game, and it has been where are they? I don't see them. This one here, this one here, this one here, and then these ones here. I believe these have fluffs on them. Yeah, I've got fluffs on this. And then these DP Crank 002s, there's one of them I think has fluffs on it. Well, I used to switch them out on this one. So it's really up to you. Now you've got all the information. You've got everybody's theories. It is nighttime. I think I'm pretty much done. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you didn't, don't hit it. Just make sure no matter what you do, subscribe. Thanks for coming to the channel and hanging out. I appreciate it. Keep gaming. Keep doing it, man. I have a blast. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care. Have a good one, and bye-bye.